Hello and welcome to today's video. This time is yet another, in fact my third, Folio Society cleaning video. So without further ado, sit back, relax and let's get to it. Okay then, so I know I said in the last Folio Society video that I wouldn't be doing any more of these for a while. Well, you know how things happen, and I ended up buying a bit of a job lot off eBay. Off Facebook rather. I've had a couple of individual volumes come in, and that's what we're looking at right here. This is quite a nice early one in a wrapper. But when these things come along, oh, it's hard to have self-control, particularly when the big job lot that I got, the book seemed in such great condition, and it included one of the ones I've been most looking forward to, which was Moby Dick. The actual seller I bought them off, he was not a book dealer. He's not used to sending anything in the mail, so it took him a long time to get some boxes together and get a quote from the post office. I mean, it was quite a big deal, and he really wanted to actually just meet me in a car and we could just sort of exchange halfway, sort of thing. But sadly, that was way too far for me to travel. So in the end, he sent them in the post, but it did take a couple of weeks. So consequently, I've only literally received them yesterday, along with a couple of other bits and pieces. So this is interesting. A letter from the Book Society. We would like, on this occasion of the coronation, 1953, to mark our appreciation of your membership, we therefore ask you to accept a gift book with our compliments. We hope you will like the enclosed volume. We have to ask you to note, however, that this does not constitute an offer for the present or the future. No gift book is being sent to new members enrolling after the 31st of May. How interesting. So it's got the Book Society. There's a few names there I recognise. Josephine Bott was the widow of Alan Bott, who started Pan Books. Obviously, somebody de la Mare, it's got to be someone related to Walter de la Mare, and Richard Vernon Hunt, who ended up being the director of Pan Books. So that is quite a nice bit of related memorabilia there. And it's interesting that this one had a Book Society ex-libraries stamp inside. So there's definitely some sort of connection here. And whether this was given out because the Book Society were very closely involved with the Folio Society, maybe they had spare copies of this one left over and they just gave it out. Maybe Alan Bott decided to buy all the copies and send them out to Book Society members. I don't know. But that is very interesting, so I shall keep all that together. Now, it does come in a rather tatty dust wrapper and very fragile, so I need to get this one basically protected ASAP. But there's nothing I can do with regards repairing it. So we'll just slide it back onto the book and basically handle with care, I think is the advice with this one. But at least it's still in it, so it's, although it's caught a bit of sun along there, inevitable really, I do need to be very careful. But it's nice to at least have the dust wrapper in it, even if the wrapper is in desperate need of a bit of TLC. So I shall carefully pop that to one side. The other sort of early book I got was this one. I got these two off Abe. They were like a £5 each off ABE Books. Mademoiselle de Maupin. Once again, the dust wrapper is complete with this one. However, it has got some missing. Typical of all these early Folio Society books. Because of that, I'm going to leave this horrible plastic wrap on the book until I'm ready to put my own wrap on it. Well, 5 minutes in, and then I had to stop because we had an online shop come in, and here's the book underneath the dust wrapper. And on the first glance, looks like there's a bit of spotting. Once again, it's an early one, and we have to remember that these earliest ones are almost 80 years old now, so I have to bear that in mind. I like the front boards though, and obviously the wrapper has stopped this one getting faded. But yeah, I'm having to do this one, and then I'm going to do a Guild paperbacks one because we're a little bit overdue on those. But But I may even have to give them a bit of a miss and just go ahead and do the 70s Penguin books that I've got in at the moment, because they need to be put up on a sales video quite soon. So it's all go, I tell you, it's all go here at Cleaning Towers. There we are, 1948. Yes, this is from the second year of the Society. Yeah, in an absolutely awful plastic, horrible aged plastic dust wrapper, which I cannot wait to get taken off. And as I said, I am looking to do a wrappering video quite soon. I'll probably just do it on the main channel, but I will film it because it's been quite a while since I've gone back and wrappered any of my more recent hardback acquisitions. Right, so all the rest of them that we're going to see right now are from the collection that I got off Facebook, and I think it worked out, including postage, well, it was under £3 a book, if you can believe it, across the board. So I didn't think that was bad at all. This one, on the face of it, appears to be quite an early one. It's got a little name inside. 1969. Therese Racoin, Emile Zola. Well, I know the author, I don't know this title. Now, when I was unpacking it, I did look through a few books to see if they were first Folio Society printings, and all the ones I checked were, which is really good news. Whether there's a few that are low grade, there's maybe 3 or 4, and I knew all about that before I bought the books. So I am aware that some of them are going to be a little bit low grade, but I'm not too worried, because overall they're going to be very, very nice additions to the collection. I can't believe I've got yet another edition of Shakespeare's sonnets. This is, I think, the 3rd different edition I've got. I've got the original edition, I've got one from the 70s, and this one, I'm guessing, must be 80s or 90s. When is this published? 89. So, as I think I mentioned, I'm not going to be keeping books that have been re-released unless there's something really, really special. I don't need 3 copies of Shakespeare's sonnets when I'm not even going to read one. You know what I mean? So for me, they're just surplus to requirements. I'm not trying to be a completist with Folio Society. There's too many. 2,700 books. I haven't got room for that. Not with my existing library. And I wouldn't even try and attempt it. There's too many books in there that are not of interest to me. But that one can go in the spares pile. I'll just move that one on. This one, however, is okay. Thomas Hardy. I'll keep a hold of these because it's a great library to have. I don't mind the fiction stuff so much. And obviously, in these early days of the Society, they mainly published classic rather than contemporary stuff, like the Society does quite a bit more of today. And when I say contemporary, I mean stuff of the last 20 years. When they started, they were doing lots of really early stuff, I guess, because it was out of copyright. But this one's a really nice edition. I know there's a huge library. I know these were reprinted, so it'd be interesting to see if this is a new one or a reprint. Trumpet Major, copyright 1990. And that one appears to be a first print. Yeah, 1990 first print in that one. So that's absolutely fine. And yeah, but I think they've done 46 volumes. No, not of Thomas Hardy, but of, who did they do it of? Trollope. In fact, here is one of the 46, Barchester Towers. I'm sure that's Trollope, isn't it? I'm sure. So yeah, the chap I bought these off, that's got a mark on the bottom. The chap I bought these off, I think they were like his grands, and he basically had inherited them and he just didn't know what to do with them. So he just put a post up on the Folio Society Facebook groups, you know, buy and trade Folio Society books. And he said, well, look, I'm taking offers on individual ones, or, you know, ideally I'd like someone to buy the lot. And I said, well, look, he said, I'll accept 100 for the lot. And I worked it out, and it worked out like, you know, 270 each. So I said, I'll have them, and I took the lot. plus the postage, of course. So yeah, that's absolutely fine. A little mark on the bottom, but I'm not going to worry about that. That's absolutely fine. 1977. So you may have seen on the other channel, I have now done a Folio Society video, and it's like a history of the Folio Society, and I'm really proud of it. It took a lot of work. It was well scripted. I thought the filming was really good. Blow my own trumpet here, but it's a video that I'm very proud of, and I hope it does well, because there was a lot of research and time went into writing it and filming it, and then it took even a day editing it because there's so much in there. It's literally packed with information. Well, this is another really nice edition. Look at that. Another big one for a trollop, 1992. And it's another first. The thing is, even though I've now got rid of my Penguin clothbound classics and little clothbounds, I am sadly already, the space has been eaten up, and I need to put some more bits into storage, sadly. It's a tight slipcase. Rides round Britain, so that's definitely caught some sun there. And that, if there's one defect on these books, it is that they've caught a little bit of sun. It happens. 1996 again. And it's funny, but you can almost tell, if it was one person, you can sort of tell when they were members of the society by the dates that the books were published. And this person evidently was a member in the mid-90s. They themselves may have inherited books from earlier on. So this one's got a little bit of wear to the box, the case. But as you know, that doesn't bother us too much, as long as the book itself is okay. It's The Discovery and Conquest of Peru. (1981). It looks earlier than that, doesn't it? Yeah, it does look earlier than that. Illustrated by Edward Baldwin. I wonder if it was a re-release. Copyright 1966. The text of this edition used by permission of Penguin. But yeah, I like Edward Baldwin. I really like his artwork. He's one of my favourites. I don't know if you can spot it, but there's a tiny little bit of thread just at the top there. There we are, got it. With military precision. But the case has got a little bit of wear. We can't do anything about that. That is just how it's going to be, sadly. But once it's on the shelf, which I am intending to keep that one, I think it should be absolutely fine. Right, what's this? Dodie Smith, I Capture the Castle. It's got a bit of wear to the case here, the box. Yeah, you can see once again this one's got a faded spine, which, as I said, it's not the end of the world, because there's certainly, where I'm going to be putting these, there's absolutely no sunlight that gets into it at all. Nice jacket though, nice cloth covers. 1997 again, so it's that. Evidently this person was a member of the society around 1997. Right, Vita Sackville West, St. Joan of Arc. Silver case here, which has got some wear on it. There's no denying that. Okay. Boards seem a bit dusty. And that is actually cleaning them up. Yeah, this book has caught some dust on the cloth, which is very unusual, isn't it? So that's done it, you know, that has actually cleaned them up quite nicely. Honestly, the feel of the cloth is gorgeous. The France of Joan of Arc. Yeah, look, mid-90s again. So that must have been when this person definitely was a member and was, you know, buying lots of Folio Society books each year. But because of the silver case, it has caught some damage there, but it is what it is. Right, what's this one? Brideshead Revisited. Now, that's a classic title, isn't it? There's a little mark there. Looks like there's some ink got splashed on this, which is a shame. Once again, it has caught a little bit of sun on the spine. Really nice, nice edition on the outside. Yeah. I don't know what that is. To me, it feels like mid-90s again. Yeah. Very, very nice. Just a little bit of faded spine, and the box itself, sadly, has picked up some damage. You can see some flecks, and there's nothing I can do about that at all. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It's okay. Now, this one was actually in my last haul, Middlemarch, by George Eliot. And the copy wasn't really up to scratch, so I decided not to keep it. This one might be a bit better. (1972), Robin Jacks, and yeah, that's a first, that one, and that's in much better condition than the one that I had in my last little lot. So that's good news. So that'll be a keeper, that one. Once again, a bit of a classic there. Right, this is The Mill on the Floss, George Eliot. Another one by her. Very, very little dust on the inside of these. A little book card for the Folio Society from when this was published, and it looks 80s to me. Yes, 1986. There we are, 1986. Yeah, once again, a really nice edition of that one. Lovely. Sadly, it has got, I just noticed it's got some splotches on the spine there, which is a shame. So it has got a fault. I'm sort of reluctant to get rid of it, but I might. I have only got room for the best. This is good because the copy that we had in the last collection was a reprint, and I checked this one when I unpacked the boxes, and I was delighted to see that this copy is a first of Lord Jim by Joseph Conrad. So he's, after Dickens, he's one of in my top 5 sort of favourite, I would call classic authors. 1996, yeah, and this was the first. So very pleased to get that. Right, Mark Twain, Huckleberry Finn. This is a seemingly nice looking volume, isn't it? This looks a little bit more recent. I mean, it looks absolutely unread to me. Absolutely unread. There we are, 1993. Yeah, I would say that's never been read, but beautiful, clear type. Just what you want. Just what you want. That's immaculate. You're not going to find better than that anywhere. Right, this will be an interesting one. Albert Camus, The Plague. Now, it doesn't see... These bits here get very, very worn, so it's interesting to see if this is... what sort of printing is on this one. (1987). And a first print, so once again not a reprint. That's really nice. That is excellent. Very, very pleased with that one again. Yeah, these have proven to be a nice collection, well worth the money. The Odyssey, though, this does appear to be quite a bit older, so this may have been a previous collection, or the person who bought those books in the 90s, it may have been their parents, if you can believe it. I like to hypothesize about whose books these could have been, you know what I mean? Sadly, I don't know. I suppose I could ask the chap I got who actually dealt with these for me. So that's 1974 for the Odyssey. Translated by E.V. Rue. He was the chap who was in charge of the Penguin Classics when they started in 1946, and there we are. And Homer's Odyssey, the Penguin translation, well, this was Classics #1, Penguin Classic #1. So this is a very handsome edition indeed of this one. Very, very nice indeed. Look at that. Terrific. That's a real good one. That is really nice. That a little bit of wear on the spine, but you know, it's over 50 years old. That's the way you gotta remember that, you know. Right, Love and Death, Turgeon Eve. Now this is one I'm not familiar with the title. The box itself has got a couple of marks, tiny split, and you can clearly see that it's faded. It should be that colour, and then the sun's got to it and it's faded it. So these things happen. Got the little insert, which would indicate it's a bit later than normal, but 83. So on this one, don't know anything about this at all. Maybe I should read the introduction and find out a little bit more. So absolutely fine, except a bit of a faded spine, but you know, I might be able to live with that. Right. A Pedestrian Journey, John Cockram. Yeah, the case is all right on this one. Dark blue, or blue stained boards, paper, page edges rather, I should say. 1983 again. So we know they were remembered for sort of 83 to 85 by the looks of it. And then also in the mid-90s it would appear. And then we seem to have some which are like 60s. That's very nice. Now this is one that I thought, oh, this must be a reprint, because it's one of those ones that's been reprinted a lot, and it's Hilaire Belloc's Cautionary Tales. So I thought, oh, this is bound to be a reprint, this one. But I was once again delighted to see that it wasn't. It was actually a first. 1997, look at that. Posey Simmons did the illustrations. Very Quentin Blake, aren't they? What a lovely edition that is. That's really nice. Yeah. So this Folio Society edition, 1997, and that is indeed the first. So that's a beauty, a little beauty, that one. I have to create 3 piles here because that's how many piles we've got. And then I'm going to cut the video because we actually have I've got one more box of slightly lower grade ones still in the post, and they haven't arrived yet. So once that arrives, I shall tack that cleaning bit on, and then we'll be done. Right, there was one, no, there was, I think there may have been two, was there one or two? There was one Dickens title in here, which is great because I'm now up to 3 out of the 16 or so that got released. And this one was in great condition. And it didn't have any of the familiar rubbing on the spine. So I was very pleased to see that. The old Curiosity Shop. These editions are lovely. They're blimmin' lovely. Look at that. Very, very nice indeed. What a beautiful way to read these books. And Dickens is one of the best. He is my favourite classic author. Just superb. Look at that, 1987, that one. Very, very good indeed. That's lovely. Yes. I'm very pleased with that. I shall keep that up there. I won't use it at the bottom. Right, another huge one here. Johnson and Boswell, Journals of the Western Isles. This is quite the beast, this one. Here we are. A nice looking book, but not one I know anything at all about. 1990. Huge affair. Right. Story of Saint Michel. So this one I have got, but I don't think I've got such a nice copy as this one on the face of it anyway. The copy I've got is not as good as this. It's got a bit of faded spine, but I suspect this is going to be an upgrade to what I've got, in which case it will be a nice easy swap over to do. 1991 again, yeah, and it's a first. Lovely. Right, next we've got The Island of Sakhalin, Chekhov. Is that Anton Chekhov? Now I noticed straight away this has got a rather annoying fingerprint by the looks of it on the top of the spine there. So is that doing anything? Oh, and at the bottom actually. Well, I think we've lightened it slightly. I wonder if the rubber will make any difference on it. It does look like a fingerprint or an ink print of some sort. I think it looks marginally better than it did. Let's have a look inside. 1989. Yeah, it was Anton Chekhov. They certainly seemed to be keen on their Russian authors, didn't they, the old Folio Society? What were they like, eh? What were they like? Right, it's a very hot day here in the studio, even though we're in the cool here. So I'm going to take a little break and just pause the video there for a moment. Right, crack on. So I think we're about halfway through all the books I had to hand right now. And this is Out of Africa, Karen Blixen. So as I said, I've got one more little batch. It's like a job lot of 12 or 13 books. They were dirt cheap. I'm waiting for that to turn up in the post, and then I shall clean them up, and that'll finish this video off. And then I promise that'll be it on Folio Society for a while. I promise. 1980. Very nice indeed. Lovely, lovely edition that. Lovely. Right. This looks a bit more recent. The Berlin Diaries of Marie Vasilakov, which I can only guess is possibly a Russian name. But it does appear to be much more sort of modern looking than what we've been dealing with. So maybe it is. Or maybe it's just in beautiful condition. Let's see. The Berlin Diaries, 1991. Yeah, it's just very, very nice condition. It appears to be unread. I'm sure it's very interesting. What beautiful condition book that is. That is, as they say, a minter. Which is always nice, isn't it? Right, what's this? Travels in West Africa. Whose travels? I hear you cry. Once again, this one's caught some sun. You can see it's yellowed a little bit on the spine. (1976). Oh, I think it's one of the first ones we've seen in the 70s. So I suspect that this may have been the collection before the main collection. You know what I mean? Elspeth Huxley. Okay. Just laid that one down. I can see like a little bit of like moulding or maybe storage, sort of storage wear possibly. Right, the Travels of Marco Polo. This one, the box does seem a bit on the worn side. It also seems a little bit more old-fashioned from what we've been looking at. In fact, in the box there was a bit of a spider's web. Yes, no idea how old this one is. Looks like 80s, doesn't it? 1968? Surely not. This translation 1958? 1958? Can it be that old? I'll have to get the old checklist out. I suppose it could be. It doesn't feel like 1958 to me. Yeah, this translation, copyright 1958. In the front there. Oh no, 1968. It is 1968. That feels like a 68 book, doesn't it? Not a 58. So, even so, that's from that collection. I think that's one of the earliest we've seen. Now, quite the big old pile up here now. So let's just slide these over. We are on the last little wedge. And once again, this looks like quite an early one, doesn't it? A Russian gentleman. Oh, the cloth on that is, well, wowee is what I say. Wowee. Feels quite old school, this one. 1976. And every single book that we've seen has been a first print, hasn't it? Every single book today, not a single reprint, has raised its ugly reprinting head. So for that, so for that, we celebrate. Right, another trollop, Phineas Finn. Now that's got a mark on the box. Will this get it off, or will it make it worse? That seems to have lightened it, but it's not going to get it off. These boxes, once they get marked, they don't seem to be recoverable, unfortunately. But ultimately, you're not going to see that when it's on the shelf. You're going to see the spine, though. And that is obviously one of the most important bits. This is obviously not being read. So when does this little fella date from? 1989. Yeah, nice handsome edition. Pretty huge book. Don't think I'll ever get around to reading one like that. Right, this one I have got, but not in this great shape. So if this is a first, this is definitely a nice improver over my own collection. I said I have got one, but not in the greatest of shape. So it'd be nice to think that this one is a first. Yeah, 1988. Perfecto. Lovely. That's lovely. Right, now this from the Grand Tour, I believe this was a presentation volume. By that I mean if you were a member of the Society, you got sent this book for free. So you didn't have to choose to have it. It was just one of those ones that the Folio Society would send out gratis just for being a member and buying like 4 books a year. And usually they were quite lavish productions. So it felt like you were getting something really nice for your money. But ultimately they're not scarce or anything like that. They are quite common. 1993. And that chap there, Roger Hudson, he seemed to have written quite a few of them. So I think he was, you could say he was almost on staff. Right. I've got one more little wedge to get over here, so I'm just making a tiny bit of room because the next few are excellent in my book, and very, very pleased to get this Moby Dick. So this is one that I did most want in a Folio Society edition, and this is what attracted me to make an offer for the lot to buy them for £100, was because this copy of Moby Dick was in there. So I have already had a look, and it is a first print. It may be the only print. I don't know if it was reprinted or not. Moby Dick has been released subsequently by the Folio Society at least twice. It has got some spine fading, like some of the other ones. So that board, that's what the board should be, nice and bright blue. And you can see there, it's sunned. But once again, when it's actually on the shelf, it doesn't look too bad at all. Yeah, it really doesn't. The important thing, so it hasn't been read, the important thing is that this is all, it's unworn. It's really, really nice condition from that point of view. It's a handsome old edition. And quite sought after. This is one of the ones that goes for about £50 odd on eBay, often in almost the sort of condition that this one is in, 1974. So text-wise, it's still better than the Penguin Pop Clothbound Classic, which I recently got rid of. It has got illustrations in, and I just think it's an absolutely cracking book. There's no introduction on this. They don't all have introductions, but many of them do. There we are. Great that it's illustrated like this. So yeah, this was the only edition of Moby Dick by the Folio Society for quite a few years. And yeah, I'm pleased to have that. That is a scarce volume, that one. And it's not perfect, my copy, but it's not bad. I'm more than happy with that. That's going to be, unless another one comes my way, I'm going to be more than happy with that one. Right, this one is a double. I got one last video. The box is certainly a little bit the worse for wear, so it may be I'll do a bit of a comparison, and then I'll have a spare to sell. In another job lot. Yep, 1992. It's a first print. I remember Nancy Mitford getting very popular around 1992. I was in the book business, and I think she must have had some sort of TV adaptation. Maybe it was that. And she was suddenly hot again. Right, this is another absolute cracker. Look at this, Brave New World. Now the box, it's in like a shiny black box, which has caught some wear. It shows up all the marks. However, just look at this underneath. Just look at that. It's pretty stunning, isn't it? And I'm going to give that a polish in a minute, but we'll just do the edges and the inside first. This has got to be one of the most attractive Folio Society books I've got. Look at that, 1971. This is one of those ones that the Folio Society themselves were very proud of at the time. You know, they made a big deal about this particular one. Look at that. Yes, it's not really like any other Folio Society book you've seen, is it? Very, very unusual. But super cool at the same time. There we are. Well, I'm going to, because of the shiny cover, I can give this a bit of a blast with the polish. We are allowed, because it is a little bit marked where it's been looked through. But only marked in a fingerprinty sort of a way, rather than any other way. That's pretty darn special, that one, isn't it? That really is quite the tome, that one. And I'll slide it in its box. I will actually give the box a little polish as well, simply because it's not going to hurt. In this particular case. And I think that's a pretty darn amazing Folio Society book, that one. Right, goodbye to Berlin. Goodbye. This is Christopher Isherwood, isn't it? I believe. (1975), Christopher Isherwood, yeah. First print again. That once again appears to have caught some yellow. It's got some sunning on it, which has spoilt it a little bit. But I mean, still, it's absolutely fine. I'm pleased to have that edition. Right, another great one. I haven't checked this, so this would be nice if it was the first. Look at this, Nostromo by Conrad again. It feels like an earlier one. This would be pretty cool. Okay. 84. Yeah, later than I thought, in all honesty. Paul Hogarth. Illustrations. There we are. Yes, excellent. That's lovely. That's very, very nice indeed. I'm very pleased with that one. God, we've been lucky, haven't we? We've had some real crackers today, actually. I'll get about another 7 to go until I pause until we get the second delivery in. So this is the rainbow. This is D.H. Lawrence, isn't it? Although it doesn't say D.H. Lawrence on the spine, which is a bit unusual. '81. Yeah, another first. Every single book a first print. I never would have suspected that. I would have expected some reprints. Simple as that. So, very nice. Right, what's it called? This is heavy. Far from the Madding Crowd. Thomas Hardy again. God, this is a really heavy, dense book. Feels dense. $1985, that appears to be. Yeah, really, really heavy paper. Yeah, it is what it is. It's a fine enough volume. What's this then? The Oregon Trail. This one you can see has caught a little bit of sun. Been sunbathing, 1973. It's a nice design book. Lovely. Very nice indeed. Okay, 2 years before The Mast, Richard Dana. Right. What's this one? 2 years before The Mast. 1986. Okay. Now, the next one is beaten up. It's got a beaten up box, so I've got no idea how good it's going to be in the flesh. In fact, the box there is literally in 2 pieces. There we are. So this may be too far gone even for me. But let's have a look. Anna Karenina. Yes, got a stain on the spine. So not a great start. Huge book. 1975. So it's the first print, but he's a bit beaten up, and it's got these markings on the spine with wear. So that, to me, unfortunately, when they're like that, that's a bit too far gone for me. Even I have to draw the line sometimes. So I won't be keeping that one. But it's okay. Right, couple more. This is William Russell Special Correspondent of the Times. Now, I've seen a few like this in the Folio Society library. I've never had the opportunity to actually look at one. So I'm very curious to see what they are like and what the attraction is. Well, first of all, I very much like the front jacket. That's beautiful. 1995, introduction by Max Hastings. Okay. That's like military non-fiction. How cool is this? Very, very nicely laid out. Beautiful. I can see the attraction now. £19.95. Lovely. Right. Sadly, just one more. For now, anyway. As I said, there's more on the way. Just to finish this video off. But I'm going to have to pause here because they might arrive tomorrow. Right. Elizabeth I. Here we go. It's a history book, 1990. Not sure if this was a presentation one or not, but it is what it is. So there we are. So I'm just going to halt the video there for now, and I'll be back to finish off, well, when that last lot arrive. Okay, so it's another day, and the books turned up the very next day after we were filming. So here they are, and ready to be finished off. And I promise that this will be the last bulk folio video for a while. But I mean, they've been taking over the collection a little bit recently. Now, what's that there? So I do appreciate they're not everyone's cup of tea. However, it's a bit of a nice change to Society bookmark. It's a bit of a nice change to vintage paperbacks all the time, I think. Anyway, we've not got a massive amount to do. There's probably 20 at most. And yeah, this is quite a nice one. I have checked a few because I bought this particular job lot. Although there were books that were lowish grade, 1981, that's fine. There was a couple of books that I particularly was keen on, and I was delighted to see that the key books were actually first printing, so that's super cool. Anyway, let's just adjust the camera slightly. There we are. I've got less chance of actually banging it now with my hand. It's got some dust along the top there. So a bit of a slightly worn spine there, a little bit of wear, but I think this is a reasonably early one. I think this might be a 70s one. Don't think it's any earlier than that. 1964, much earlier than I thought. Yeah, 12 Caesars. I think the giveaway was the style of the slipcase, actually. Whereas this one's slightly different. It's a bit more solid, as it were. Once again, got a layer of dust on the top, which is easy to get that off, so we're not stressing about that at all. To me, looks absolutely unread. Thomas Becket, 2002, so a reasonably late one, that. And that to me looks, yeah, that's never been looked through as far as I can see. He's certainly playing hard to get back into its slipcase. I reckon that's probably only ever been out once. There we are. Now this one isn't in a case at all, Saki's short stories, but we can't necessarily write that off because the book may have been a presentation one for that year. and consequently didn't actually come in a slipcase. So we can't write the absence of a slipcase off, at least not until I look it up. 1976. Oh, Osbert Lancaster did the drawings. I quite like his work. Turned over a page there. Yeah, so that one will take a little bit of research up here. And this one we have seen before, The Great Enterprise. So this was one of their presentation volumes. And this one, it's well worn. It didn't come in a slipcase. It's got some wear on it, where it's got water damaged. I'd say this is pretty low grade, that one. Yeah, 1977. But yeah, that one was a lower grade one. Here's Nostromo by Joseph Conrad. So again, this one's not in a case. Got a splosh there on the side, so not a particularly attractive volume on the face of it. But it is one I actually do have quite a nice one of. (1984). Illustrated by Hogarth. Lovely edition. Very, very nice indeed. Yeah. That's a nice book. This one's also not in a case. Riddle of the Sands, Erskine Childers. (1992), and that's a second print. That's a reprint, that one. A reprint without a dust wrapper. And this one is also without a wrapper. A slipcase rather. French short stories. Yeah, quite the worse for wear. This one, I said it was part of a big job lot, so I probably won't be keeping this. 1998. It's a first print, but it's just a bit worn, to be honest, you know. A little bit too far gone for me. Now, this one I didn't get from the job lot, but it did turn out recently. This is Tales from Tolstoy. And it's this was the very, very first Folio Society book they ever published. It's quite expensive in a dust wrapper, which is how this one came. £80 is generally the going rate. There's a tatty one up on eBay, and it is really tatty for like 30-ish or something. That's more than I want to pay. I don't mind this one. It's not in its wrapper, but it doesn't matter too much to me, that. I think one will probably come along in a wrapper in time. But yeah, 1947, there we are. And this was the very, very first Folio Society volume. Designed by Charles Eady. It should say somewhere. Yeah, this book has been designed by Charles Eady at the Folio Society. There we are. So yeah, that is the very, very first Folio Society book. Quite nice indeed. Alright, Hemingway short stories. So again, a bit of a layer of dust on the top there. This one seems much nicer condition than what we've been looking at. And they are out there in nice condition. You just need to be patient and a bit selective. But this came, yeah, first print, I believe. Was that first printing? Oh no, the 8th printing. First print was 1986. I've seen a set with Hemingway's major novels in, and this one on the end is like a I don't know, a bookend to that series. I actually thought that was a first. I know this one isn't a first though, because this is a Diary of a Nobody. Seemingly this was reprinted time and time and time again. It's a great format. I'd love to get the first of this one. I love the design of this, but yeah, 69 first print. This is a 10th. I think the highest I've seen it so far is a 14th printing. So bear that in mind. I think it's one of those tougher ones to find in a first printing. A Short History of English Literature. That's actually a little designed slipcase. Now we don't see that very often, do we? But it's obviously the right one because it goes with the same design on the book. So that's quite nice. That's a bit of an unusual anomaly. Is that upside down? Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, there we are. 1979. Yeah, it's a first. Very, very thin cardboard sleeve on that one, but it's okay. So Darkness at Noon, Arthur Koestler. This looks a bit of an earlier one. (1980). It looked earlier than that, so let's see if it's not a reprint. Yeah, 1980. Yeah, second impression 84. So it was a reprint. It looked earlier than that, though, I've got to say. Just can't tell sometimes, can you? Right, Chekhov short stories. This one's very, very beaten up. But basically, the two books I bought this lot for are correct, and the nice additions to anything else I decide to keep is basically a bonus. But I probably won't end up keeping this one. 1974. It's a first print, but it's just too worn and tired and faded. It's just in too much of a state for me. I just don't want them in there. If they're low grade, I'll move them on, you know. Not unless it's something really special. Upside down again. 1979. Yeah, it doesn't even appear to have been read, that one. Right, here's one of the books I bought the lot for, and it's Ghost Stories of M.R. James. So this one tends to go for a few pounds. It's like a 30-40 pound volume, and I was delighted to see that it was a first print, 1973, the introduction by Quatermass man Nigel Neal, and no sign of it being reprinted anywhere. Very, very cool, this one. It's not mint, but it's not bad. It's one of those ones that non-Folio Society collectors would be interested in because of the content. Illustrations like. Yeah, it's lovely. That's really nice. I'm very pleased to have that one. Along with the next one. So this is a book that's been reprinted time and again by the Folio Society. I believe it's still in print today, and it's Animal Farm by George Orwell. The Folio edition is still in print. Obviously, the book is in print. Very, very nice printing of this indeed. Now, it's very difficult to tell because the cover is like watercolour, but that does to me look as if it's got a little bit of foxing on the side there. But I'm not going to let that get me down, because it is a first print of a book which is in like its 30th printing now. Yeah, 1945 originally published, and 1984 for the Folio Society edition. Look at that. In fact, it had 1250 inside. Just to give you an idea, the books that we're looking at here, I think cost me £18 for all of this little lot, and then the postage was on top, which is about another £9. So I think I got my money back just with those last two, to be honest. I mean, regularly that book sells for 30 plus. I've never seen the first print for sale, and I've looked, so really pleased to get that one. This is about the third copy of this one that I've come across. It's a lovely edition of Almayer's Folly, really nice. Don't know if it's a reprint or not. 62 it says. Yeah, it was the first printing of this one. A little bit of pencil in the back here. Yeah, it's okay, but I said I have got a copy, but I'll compare it against my own one and see which one comes out tops, basically. But it's got quite a clean spine on it. You know, I think mine may be a little bit more rubbed, but this one hasn't got the slipcase, so I think a little bit of jiggery pokery is going to be in order there. Oh, it's actually got another £4 in there as well. There we are. Yeah, that's lovely. And then the last one to finish this video off is this, a big huge tome. Bit of a dusty box on it, but we don't mind. Now, this one here, it's sort of designed to appear like a really old book. Those beautiful, like, leather bound, like, you know, almost like Boy's Own Adventure books. That's the sort of vibe it's got on it. But this one is The Fatal Shore: History of Transportation of Convicts to Australia, 1787 to 1868. Well, it's a huge tome. Let's have a look then. 1998. Fourth printing from 2006. Well, I suppose it's great if you're into the subject. It wouldn't be the sort of the first thing that I would immediately go for, but it is what it is, isn't it? But there we go. So thanks for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed yet another Folio Society video. I promise, once again, we'll be back to the paperbacks as of next week. If you have enjoyed today's video, do please give it that thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already for regular vintage book cleaning action. And I'll look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.